We're going to do 8. As it comes out the tube is number 2. If we want a darker one, we can add some burnt umber. But if you use burnt umber, be careful you don't use a separate brush. That you don't spread it into the others because it'll darken and dull everything. Burnt umber is a real deadening, flattening colour, and you don't want to transfer it into there. Okay, so now we'll add white, and we add white in decreasing quantities from the other side. So here, just as it comes out the tube, more or less, and then here, and then it's getting less, 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 and that's as it comes out the tube. And then mix that, and I might adjust as I go with a little bit more. Yeah, that's a nice tone value. I wipe that on my trousers.
Do you have to do that yourself?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. See, a little bit darker again.
Yeah.
I wipe that on your trousers. And then again, I'm going a little bit darker. A little bit more of that added to it. There it is, a little bit more white just to bring it back up again. I added a bit too much to that. That's fine. It's a tonal value there. Then again, just a little bit darker. A little bit more of that, I think. There it is, getting a little bit darker. Then it's really getting darker now. And it's getting really dark. I'm just going to adjust that with a little bit of white in that. I'm just going to adjust that with a little bit of white. Just going to adjust that. Could do with a bit of separation in between them because they tend to have merged together a bit, but that's okay. 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 And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tonal values. If we wanted a darker one, burnt umber. You don't need a darker one in your paintings, but if you ever do, put burnt umber to some of the terra verde. You can use another paint for this, chrome of oxide, which is a green, with Mars black, 50%, 50%.
Sorry, that's my phone going off. I'll just leave it.
50%, 50%, and then add increasing amounts of white or decreasing amounts of white. Okay? So that's your tonal value range, invented by a man called Albert Munsell. Okay? The Renaissance artists actually used 14 to the best of my knowledge, but he came along at the beginning of the century, this century. He was a great colourman, he was a dye maker, physicist, whatever, chemist, and he said no, 9 is perfect, and we go by that. Okay, Albert Munsell's tonal value range. So use that to paint your painting, and what you want to paint in, where's your painting here?
Yeah.
Okay, where's your reference? This is your reference. Have you got a better reference than that?
No, that's it.
You have, you've got this one here. It's the same one. It just hasn't got the hands in it.
Alright, okay.
As soon as we're going to be doing the face, you may
Okay,
as well
yes, okay.
go with that, you know. And what you want to do is you want to look at this, you want to be looking at it in terms of light and dark, black to white, light and dark, you know. Not in terms of its colour, okay. If you find it difficult to see that at first, screw your eyes up and it helps. Screw your eyes up and almost things go black or grey. And it's that sort of light and dark that you put on. And you put it on now, to put it on in areas. Don't be too precise about joining these areas up. You're not painting a face. You are putting on small amounts of tonal value paint. So as I look at it, I see there's a dark area up there. Okay? And there's a, you know, I can see that. And then it gets lighter here. It gets quite light here. Okay? And I put this paint on in the areas that correspond. It's quite light up there. Okay? It gets sort of a little darker just here. See, it's darker than that.
Yeah.
Okay?
And you're not trying to join it up?
No. It's better actually if you leave little gaps in between. Because it gets you off this idea. You can paint it upside down, it actually works really well if you do it upside down, because it gets you off the idea of it being a face and gets you into doing this tonal value. When you've done all the tonal values right over the whole lot, within reason they'll be okay. And then you go between all of them with a small blender and you just join up the gaps. and it will paint itself. It will look realistic like that. That's all they've done. Or like that. See this one here. Okay. The difficult thing is to get your head around the fact that that's not painted. They've only joined up all the bits. And then at the very end, she's got a little bit sculptural, and she's twiddled with it a little bit, but hardly at all, really. You know, as long as you obey that principle. But the problem for most people is obeying that principle of putting the bits on and getting their head off this. This is the way they used to train apprentices in a Renaissance artist studio. Semi-literate, 14, 13-year-old lads used to paint this. I've said this before. The thing then was, if they got it wrong, the master painter in the studio could hit them. I can't do that.
Can't hit us, just got to fix, is it?
Not everything.
Not on camera.
Not everything is better. Okay. All right. So.